Hi, math students. This video is to help you with your checkpoint. So what you want to do is get a piece of paper and write down these notes with me, or I also attached a picture of this paper to this video so you can print that out and then fill it in as we go. It's up to you, but you need to make sure you write these down, and then you can use this on your checkpoint, which is right after this video. So this is very helpful. So this video or this checkpoint is about creating your own input-output tables, dealing with functions, what do functions look like. So we're going to go through some of those problems. So if they give you y equals 2x plus 5, and you have to create an input-output table here or an xy table, how do we do that? So I kind of set this up. And remember, you can pause the video anytime to write down the things I already have written down. Just pause the video, fill it in, and then push play again. So I'm going to take these values for x and I'm going to plug them into my equation and see what comes out. So if I plug in -4 here, 2 times -4 is -8. -8 plus 5 is -3. So my input was -4, my output -3. I'm going to keep doing that same thing here. I'm going to plug in -2. So 2 times -2 is -4, plus 5 is 1. Now I'm going to plug in 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 5 is 7. So I just keep doing that same thing. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 5 is 15. Plug in 10. 2 times 10 is 20, plus 5, 25. And I've created a table. If they give you a bunch of tables and ask you which one matches, you do the same thing. You plug in those x values and see if your y values match the ones that they gave you. What if they write it like this? In this f of x, that's how you say this, by the way, f of x. This is a function notation. It's the same thing as writing y, but they write f of x. So similar process here. So sometimes our table can go up and down. Sometimes it goes side to side. I've tried to show you a lot of different ways to write it, just so you see that it's all the same. It's just about how you want to write it. So I need to plug in these x values and see what f of x would equal. So if I plug in 0 here, now look, I need to plug in 0 in 2 places because I'm plugging in 0 everywhere that there's an x. So sometimes you need to actually take a minute and write these things down. We should not try to do everything in our head. So don't be afraid to write things down. Just because you're doing your math on the computer doesn't mean you don't have to write things down. You absolutely do. Okay, so if I plug in 0 here, this looks like 3 times 0 squared minus 0 plus 10. So I'm just writing this down over here so I can think through it a little bit. 0 squared, I have to follow that order of operations. I need to do exponents first. So 0 squared is just 0. 3 times 0 is 0. So I have 0 minus 0 plus 10. So that's just going to come out as 10. Okay, if I plug in 1, remember I'm plugging it into both places, and I always write these down. I encourage you to write things down. You don't need to keep it all in your head. So if I do exponents first, 1 squared is 1. So 3 times 1 is 3. So I'm looking at 3 minus 1 plus 10. So 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 plus 10 is 12. Make sure you're following order of operations here and you're going from left to right after you do those exponents. So plugging in 2, so I have 3 times 2 squared minus 2 plus 10. So I'm going to do exponents first. 2 times 2, 2 squared is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So I'm looking at 12 minus 2 plus 10. So 12 minus 2 is 10, plus 10 is 20. Plugging in 3 to both places. So 3 times 3 squared minus 3 plus 10. Again, pause the video anytime if you need more time to write these down, or rewind it if you want to hear me say an example again. So 3 squared is 9. 3 times 9 is 27. So I have 27 minus 3 plus 10. So I'm going left to right here. 27 minus 3 is 24. Plus 10 is 34. And last, I'm going to plug in 4. So 3 times 4 squared minus 4 plus 10. 4 squared, 4 times itself is 16. 3 times 16, I don't happen to know this one off the top of my head, so I'm going to multiply it real quick. 48. So this is 48 minus 4 plus 10. Going from left to right, 48 minus 4 is 44. Plus 10 is 54. So that one was a little bit trickier than this one over here because it had 2 places to plug in x. It also had an exponent. Okay. All right. What if they ask you it like this? Find f of 6 for f of x equals 2 parentheses x plus 3. Okay, so I need to plug in 6 for x. So this is how I show my work. F of 6 equals 2, and I'm replacing x with 6 now because I'm trying to find f of 6. So you have to remember your order of operations here. So f of 6 equals, I have to do parentheses first. So 6 plus 3 is 9. So this is 2 times 9. So I get f of 6 equals 18. And that's how you do a problem like that. The reason we're doing these problems, you guys, is because you're going to see problems just like this on your checkpoint in a minute. That's why I'm having you write these down so you have an example to look at when you get to your checkpoint. So make sure you watch these and write them down. Okay, what if they give you a graph and they say, what is f when x equals 3? So we have to remember that this is our x-axis, this one right here. So if x equals 3, I'm going to go over to 3 on the x-axis. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to see what is that y value, my output. My output looks like 2. So when I went over to 3, I found that on my graph, that was at 2. So I would say f equals 2. Okay, here's an input-output table, and they're saying which is the function that matches this input-output table. So kind of the reverse of what we just did. Which one of these works? So we need to plug in some of these x values and see if I get the right y value out or the right h of x value out. So let's plug in 0 because 0 is pretty easy to plug in. So if I plug in 0 right here, 2 times 0 is 0, plus 5 is positive 5. So I should have got out positive 5 and I didn't. So that means this one does not work. It's not the right function for this picture or for this table. Okay, let's plug in 0 to the next one. If I plug in 0 right here, negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 5 is positive 5. So I should have got positive 5, and I didn't. So this is not the right function. Let's try this one. So if I plug in 0, 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 5 is negative 5. Ooh, okay, so far this one works. Let's plug in 0 down here. 0 times negative 2 is 0. 0 minus 5 is negative 5. Okay, so right now these two both work. So I need to plug in another number to see if that one works. So let's plug in 1. So if I plug in 1 right here, 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Okay, that's what I got right here. So this one's still working. This one still works. Let's try this. If I plug in 1 down here, negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 minus 5. Remember that subtracting integers here. Negative 2 minus 5 is the same as negative 2 plus negative 5. So that's negative 7, which is not what I have on the output table. So this one's out. This is the one that works. So the way we figured this out is we plugged some of the numbers in to see which one gave us the right output value. And last thing they'll ask you on your checkpoint, how would I write a function for this? Bob earns $15 per hour plus a $10 bonus. Write a function for h, where h is hours. So $15 per hour. I'm guessing you guys would write that as 15h, which is correct. Plus a $10 bonus. So I'm going to write plus 10. It's not 10h. It's not a $10 bonus per hour. It's just a flat out $10. So $15 an hour, plus he gets $10 on top of that. And for our function, we could write f of h equals. All right, hopefully that helps you for your checkpoint. Use this paper as you do it right after this video.